What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be for UFC Vegas 27 Font versus Garbrandt. So this should be a really fun card. I'm really looking forward to it. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So we got Damir Ismagulov coming up against Rafael Alves at 155 pounds. So Ismagulov, his record is, I've seen it fluctuated depending on like who's listing it. Like I've seen 22-1, I've seen like 19-2. So, whatever it may be, man, a lot of wins, not a lot of losses. That's basically the gist of it. Doing some training at Tiger Muay Thai. A pretty storied M1 career. He was the champ there, defended that belt 2 times. He's a master of sport in Army hand-to-hand, which is a Soviet martial art which was developed by the military back in the day. And his reach was listed as like 70 inches in his last fight, I'm pretty sure. And then like on the UFC website, it's 74 inches. So like, I don't know. I think 74 is what it actually is. He looks like it's pretty long. So I don't know. UFC got to get it together on that man. Supposedly he does have a big reach advantage here. I do believe it is like 74 though, in all seriousness. He looked really good in all 3 UFC fights. He's 3-0 with 3 decisions. He's got nice feints, nice head movement, nice footwork. He's very calculated. He will punish you if you overcommit on strikes. He finds openings very often. His technique's really tight. It's hard to hit him, and it's easy for him to hit you in a lot of his fights. So he throws pretty good volume. He does have takedowns if he really needs them, but he is a striker through and through, and he can defend the takedowns pretty well. So looking across the cage at Alves, who's 19-9, he's on a 5-fight win streak. 3 of them were on Titan FC, and the most recent one was on Dana White's Contender Series. He's given up a lot of reach here. Given up like 6 inches in reach in this one. He's not really on Ismagulov's level in terms of striking, in my opinion. Maybe he has a little bit more power than Ismagulov does. He does have good jiu-jitsu. He walks forward and brings pressure, which normally I really like out of a fighter. You guys probably hear me say that all the time. I really like it when a guy takes the center of the cage and comes forward, but in this case, I just think he's going to be walking into punches too much. He's physically strong. He has some hard kicks. He doesn't let his hands go that much, but he does have nice low kicks. He throws a lot of hooks. Kind of without setting them up first, which I don't love. And when he darts in like that, he's just a little bit hittable for my liking, especially against a guy like Damir Ismagulov. That's not really what I like to see. He's got some spinning kicks. He's decently durable. He's got a tight squeeze on his submissions. He had a real nice guillotine win on the Contender Series, but ultimately I'm going with Ismagulov in this one. I think he's a much superior striker, and he's just well equipped to grapple defensively should he need to do that. I see Damir piecing him up for 3 rounds and taking a 30-27 in this one, so give me Ismagulov there. Moving on to Yancey Medeiros and Damir Hadzavik at 155 pounds as well. We got Medeiros coming in here at 15-7. He's got a big reach advantage in this fight, but he's taken 3 straight losses. All his fights have been against pretty good competition for almost his whole career. I mean, he hasn't really had too many layups, I wouldn't say. He throws pretty good volume most of the time. His last 3 fights are a little bit concerning. He got knocked down 3 times by Cerrone and finished in the first round. Got taken down 6 times by Gregor Gillespie and got outlanded 51-1 on significant strikes and got knocked out in the second round. So I can't really complain about getting taken down by Gillespie, but like, I don't know, man. It was just ugly. Like, it really wasn't close whatsoever, as you can tell. I mean, all you gotta do is look at the stats. You don't even really need to watch it. And I mean, he got outstruck by like around 30 strikes by Lando Venata. Clearly lost every round and lost a clear 30-27. And he just misses a lot of strikes, I find. Doesn't really offer that much in terms of grappling. He's a solid fighter, but he is pretty one-dimensional. And if he's not the clearly better striker in a matchup, I just personally can't trust him. So I definitely could see people betting on him. I don't think it's necessarily a bad bet, but I'd probably pass on this one. And looking at Hadzavik, he's 13-6, coming off 2 losses. I feel like this is a pretty good matchup for him here. He struggles a lot with grapplers. All his UFC losses have come in fights where guys were able to get him down, besides the knockout loss to Tyson Love a long time ago. He was struggling with Marcin Held a little bit before landing that knee. He doesn't really throw as much volume as Medeiros, but he is more accurate. He's a little tighter with the strikes. He takes the center. He pressures, which you guys know I like. I think he'll throw a little bit more here. or actually, sorry, no, what am I saying? I would like to see him throw a little bit more here. He does kind of look for that perfect shot a little bit too much for my liking. I'd rather just see him pack on some volume, and that is one of the areas where I see, some upside on Medeiros, is that I feel like Hadzavik should just throw more volume, and that could be his downfall in this fight. So I am going to pass on this from a betting standpoint. If I had to pick it, I'm going to go with Hadzavik, but I'm passing hard on this one. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't really trust either guy to do what they're supposed to do here. I think it's going to stay standing most of the fight. If there's a decent, I haven't really checked. If there's a decent number on some over-under props, maybe you could take a look at that, but in terms of the over, I'm talking, but I don't know, guys. I really don't trust either of these guys. It's going to be a hard pass for me on this one. Moving on to Joshua Culibao coming up against Shaan at 145 pounds. So we got Culibao coming in 8-1-1. He's got a slight size advantage here. He's 0-1-1 in the UFC. He had a draw against Charles Jourdain, and he lost to Jalen Turner. He won the first round against Jourdain, lost round 3 for sure. Round 2 was a close one there. And he doesn't have wild power. He did have a knockdown against Jourdain, but I feel like that was more a result of Jourdain not seeing it than just the overwhelming power of Culibao. He's a good grappler. He doesn't have any subs yet, but he does have decent grappling. He's got better experience than Shaan has, I would say. He's got 2 UFC fights under his belt now, kind of get the butterflies out of the way and all that. And looking at Shaan 19-6, I feel like he hasn't really fought anyone who's that good. His best fight was probably Rongju, who was able to knock him out. And I'm just not really sure where his level is. We've seen some of these Chinese prospects come in and be really good. Like you guys probably know, I'm a big fan of Sumudaerji. Really like him, really high on him as a prospect. Love him. And then we've just seen other guys come in and not really be at that level, whether it's because of the bright lights for the first time or who knows what it is. But there's just been there's just too many question marks for him here. A lot of unknowns. I feel like Culibao's probably the better fighter in this spot. I feel like Shayilan's record may be a little bit padded. It's tough to say because I haven't really been wowed by Josh Culibao either. But I guess if I have to pick, I'll go with him to get the win. So give me Josh Culibao. Now we have Victor Rodriguez coming up against Bruno Silva, 125 pounds. So Rodriguez 7-3. Haven't really gotten to see what he's all about. Only got to see 6 significant strikes out of him in that round 1 KO loss to Adrian Yanez last October. Saying that makes you feel like it's probably not going in the right direction. He's got a few fights on the Alaska regional scene. I mean, it's not really the greatest regional scene of all the places to be fighting. I mean, he fought a smart game plan against Yanez, tried to avoid the striking and initiate some grappling, but it didn't last long. He's got a lot of wild winging punches. Could be the result of being toe-to-toe with a guy like Yanez, but I just feel like his striking defense isn't really that great. Doesn't really move his head enough, shells up. He hasn't really fought great competition, and I just don't think there's many guys in the UFC I would pick him against. He has had the longer camp for this one, but I don't know. There's going to need to be more than that to convince me. Bruno Silva, 11-5-2, taking the short notice, just got his first UFC win over JP Buys, training at Fight Ready in Arizona. And I think he's doing some work with the Pitbull brothers as well. 1-2-1 in the UFC. Those 2 losses were to tough competition, Tagir Ulanbekov and David Vorak. Those are tough fights, man, for just coming into the UFC. He had a no contest with Khalid Taha. It got overturned due to a failed drug test by Taha. And, he did get beat up in that one, but it is what it is, man. He was on the gear, so what can you say? He was the WFF champ. He was on LFA, where he fought Casey Kenny to a draw. Pretty good competition. He was on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. He's a good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu. He attempts a ton of takedowns. He's very tenacious. He was able to get David Dvorak down 3 times, got Tagir Ulanbekov down 4 times. So I feel good about Silva in this spot. I think he should be the better fighter here. I could see him getting a ground and pound KO. I could see him getting a sub. Maybe see him getting a decision. But I think he's going to get a finish. I think he'll do it inside the distance. I just don't know if Rodriguez is quite UFC material. And after watching Silva dust JP buys, I think that he gets in Rodriguez's face, gets some takedowns, and wins the fight. So give me Bruno Silva here. Moving on to Claudio Silva and Court McGee, welterweight. So Claudio Silva, 14-2. American top team, giving up a lot of reach here. He is 38 years old, coming off a loss to James Krause that ended a 14-fight win streak, which included a win over Leon Edwards. The Krause fight, he did take short notice, so don't know how much you're really going to read into that. He's 5-1 in the UFC. His striking is just okay, right? He wants to be grappling, and he really relies on that. If the fight stays standing, he can't beat most guys, in my opinion. Looking a little slower these days. He throws a lot into his strikes. You know, he really winds up on them, and he just doesn't defend the stand-up that well. When he throws kicks, I find his chin is kind of on a silver platter at times. Probably has to do with the fact that he doesn't really care if you take him down, so he's not really trying to, you know, he's not worried about getting taken down on a kick or having to get caught or anything like that, but he could get fed like that in this fight. He does have great grappling. You know, when he hits the mat, he's looking to advance right away, try to pass guard, and he will have that advantage here. I just don't see him posing that much of a threat on the feet. And Court McGee, say what you will, 19-10, 7-9 in the UFC, but, you know, he's got tons of experience. He's 34 years old, a little bit younger. He has a win over Robert Whittaker. You know, nice win before Whittaker went up to middleweight. And, you know, I think he did pretty well at middleweight. You guys probably agree with me there. You know, he beat Brad Tavares on The Ultimate Fighter. That's another nice win. You know, he's fought a lot of good guys. And I'd say, in general, he's fought better competition than Silva. He's going to have a big reach advantage here. He throws more volume than Silva does. I think he's a better striker. He can be taken down, but I don't think that's like a glaring hole in his game. He's definitely the worst grappler of the two of them, you know, if you want to say that. So I'm probably going to pass on this one, but I guess give me Court McGee here. I'll take the underdog. Give me the better striker with the reach advantage in this one, I guess. You know, both kind of past their prime. Going to be a little sloppy, I think. I really don't want anything to do with this fight, but I think whoever wants this one more is going to take it. McGee's going through a rough patch that might inspire him to give a little bit more here and try to get this win, but it's going to be a hard pass for me. But I guess I'll go with Court McGee to outvolume him for 3 rounds. And yeah, now we got Ben Rothwell coming up against Chris Barnett, 265. We think, you know, Ben Rothwell gets a new opponent every second day. Rothwell's 38-13. That's an absolutely insane amount of fights. He's got the experience advantage here far and away. He's a few years older, but the competition he's faced is far better than Barnett. He's faced guys like Andrei Arlovsky back, you know, a couple years ago when Arlovsky was really doing damage. Junior Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez in 2009. He was able to beat Alistair Overeem and Brandon Vera in 2014 and 13. You know, we're talking about stuff a long time ago, so I don't want to put too much stock into that. You know, he's coming off a loss against Marcin Tybura after beating OSP and Stefan Struve, and he throws good volume. He's got some strong low kicks mixed in. He was fight ready earlier, you know, but that fight with Felipe Lins fell out. So looking at Chris Barnett here, he's 21-6. He's a 5'9" heavyweight. So, you know, that's small for heavyweight. I'll say that. I don't really know if he should be at this weight, but I don't know if cutting 60 pounds is really an option for him at this stage of his career. So I guess heavyweight it is, man. And he doesn't really set up combos that well. He does have some power. He's got some taekwondo, man. Got some nice kicks that you probably wouldn't expect to see from him. You know, looking at his build, I don't really know if he's UFC caliber. He could be beat Ben Rothwell caliber maybe, but I doubt it. He hasn't really faced great competition. He's coming in somewhat short notice here, and I just think Rothwell's the better fighter, had more time to prepare, faced better guys, much bigger frame, and I think he gets it done and spoils Barnett's debut in this one, so give me Ben Rothwell. Now we have Bill Algie and Ricardo Hamo set to 145 pounds, so you know, we have Bill Algie here, 14-5, really durable, mentally strong fighter. Switch stance, big advantage in height, and inch and a half advantage in reach. He's 1-1 in the UFC, coming off a win over Spike Carlisle. Now, is Carlisle really UFC caliber? I don't know. He went right back to LFA after his loss to Algio. Algio's fight before that was Lamas, where he lost. He fought Brendan Loughnane on Dana White's Contender Series and lost. Brendan Loughnane should be in the UFC. I'm just gonna say that right now. I don't know why Dana didn't sign him, man. He clearly is UFC level. clearly better than Bill Algie, right? And Algio's coming in for his third fight in the UFC. So, Algio lost to Jared Gordon in 2017. Lost to Shane Burgos in 2014. But, that's good competition as far as your losses go. 2 of the 5 are those guys. Those are good fighters. Every time he's fought, those UFC-level guys, right? He's lost. Brendan Loughnane beat him. Lamas beat him. Gordon beat him. Burgos beat him. He did beat Spike Carlisle, but Carlisle was out of the UFC right after that fight. Algio is a good wrestler. He just gives up a lot of takedowns, though, and it's just kind of hard to win when you do that. Loughnane was able to get him down 3 times. Lamas got him down 5 times. Spike Carlisle got him down 4 times. His hands are a little low sometimes, and I feel like his striking defense is that he's just really tough, more than technically, defending. But he does throw a lot. He's wiry. He's deceptively strong. But the fact of being a 6', 145er means you can't fit as much muscle into that frame as some smaller guys can. But there's no quit in him. You got to give him that. Hamo is coming in 14-3. He's 25 years old, has the youth advantage, training at a Team Alpha Male. He's 5-2 in the UFC. He has been finished in the first round twice. He took lots of time off since his last fight, getting knocked out, which I like. He's more technical on the feet. Every UFC fight where he's been able to get takedowns, he has won. And what do you know? Bill Algio gives up a lot of takedowns. So he's got some spinning kicks, some question mark kicks. He likes the low kicks too. He's got, finds opportunities to grapple pretty well. Algio gives up a lot of those. But Hamo has a questionable gas tank, and that's not good against a guy like Bill Algio. And I was really close to going with Hamo here. I think he's the better striker. I think that he can have success grappling here. He's going to have to be careful about the volume of Algio. Hamo throws a lot of singular strikes. And, Algio gives up a lot of takedowns, which I don't like. And Ramos is the kind of guy who can capitalize. I think Algio could be a nice live bet spot here after a strong first round from Hamos. I think that Algio is going to be fresher later in the fight. And ultimately, that is kind of what I think the deciding factor is going to be. I feel like this is pretty close. I feel like Hamos is better, but I just don't know if he's going to win the fight. I think that Algio is going to come up with a strong second and third round and win a 29-28. I'm not confident in that, so I'm not like I'm saying I'm going out and betting on Bill Algio here. I'm not, but I might live bet him, right? If Hamos looks really good in the first round, I might live bet him. But I don't trust either of these guys. And if I have to pick, I'm going with Bill Algio. So moving on to Jack Hermansson and Edmund Shabazian, 185 pounds. Jack Hermansson, 21-6, just lost to Marvin Vettori. He's fought a lot of good guys. He throws a lot of strikes. He's a good grappler, pretty good wrestler, offensively and defensively. He has struggled with power in the past. Thiago Santos and Jared Cannonier were both able to sting him. And, he got knocked down by Marvin Vettori in his last fight. His bread and butter is to throw good volume and mix in 1 to 2 takedowns. If he can do that, that's a great fight for Jack Hermansson. And I think that he will be able to do this against Edmund. He probes with that left hand, nice jab. He throws that low left kick. He doesn't need a perfect shot. He'll throw just to throw. He does like to throw the right hook a little bit. And, he's just a tough matchup for anyone with his versatile style. I really like Jack Hermansson. He doesn't do anything amazingly, but he does do everything well. He's just a really well-rounded guy. And looking at Edmund Shabazian coming off his first ever loss, which was to Derek Brunson. And, if you can't beat Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson isn't an easier matchup, in my opinion. He's got a very questionable gas tank. He's only had to go past round 1 once in his UFC career. We saw how that went. But he's a really good striker and has really good power. And when you see and hear those shots, man, they are hard. And, he was able to land really well on Brunson. He was just badly outclassed on the ground. And I feel like he's live to knock out Jack Hermansson in the first round. But after that first round, I don't like it for Shabazian here. And I would say maybe Hermansson is a live bet opportunity, but I don't know, guys. If Shabazian loses the first round, Hermansson is just going to be an even heavier favorite. And but if he does happen to win that first round, he could have some nice. Hermansson, I'm talking about, could have some nice value if Shabazian is able to win the first round. But I mean, I'm going to go with Hermansson here, provided he doesn't lose consciousness in round 1. I think that Jack the Joker wins this one. He's relentless, he's got a pretty decent chin, and he's got good cardio. I mean, Shabazian is always a KO threat, but I do like Hermansson's well-rounded game to pull it out. To pull it out maybe late or pull it out by decision, so give me Jack Hermansson. And David Vorak versus Raulian Paiva, man, it got canceled. That's disappointing. I have heard that Dvorak is supposed to be fighting Juan Camillo Ronderhos. Let me just check if they've officially put that out anywhere. And you'll get the live pick right here and now from Lucky Locks, man. So let's have a look. Did they put that in? Yeah, he is going to fight him. So I do think that Dvorak beats him. Short notice for Juan Camillo Ronderhos. I broke this guy down before when he was supposed to fight Rodney Kialohi on LFA. And yeah, I honestly really liked him. He's a good fighter. You know, he's able to beat Eric Shelton on WXC. I do like Juan Camillo, but is he going to beat David Vorak on short notice, like the day of the fight? Or sorry, not the day before the fight? No, I don't think so. So give me David Dvorak here. I doubt we get a tasty number on Dvorak. I think everyone's probably going to be on him. I think that Juan Camillo could be live, you know, maybe if he really works that grappling, but I don't know. I feel like Dvorak is going to beat him. So yeah, that's cool that we at least get to see David Dvorak here. I was disappointed that we lost that fight with Paiva. I thought that was going to be a good one, but yeah, give me Dvorak in this one. I obviously didn't really look into Juan Camillo Ronderhos because I just saw that just now. So I've watched tape on him before because of when he was going to be fighting on LFA, but I do think that, you know, Dvorak, you know, there's levels to this game. I think that Dvorak is a couple levels above, so give me David Dvorak in this one. I'm happy I was able to catch that here and get the prediction out, so that's nice. And moving on to Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont at women's featherweight. So Felicia Spencer, 8-2. All her pro fights were on Invicta in the UFC. I love it. Good competition. Her only 2 losses are to Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg. And she went the distance in both of those fights. I love that too. 6 of her 8 wins are finishes. Love it. Choked out Megan Anderson in round 1. Does that remind you of anybody? No. I mean, obviously she's not on Nunes level, but, you know, that's a good win. She was able to get Megan Anderson down right away, or not right away, but early, you know, take the back, submit her, you know, get Sarah Farron down early, TKO her at the ground and pound. She's really strong. Not a lot of women can match her for strength. You know, she's a good grappler with heavy top pressure. Norma Dumont is 5-1. She had a nice win her last time out against Ashley Evans-Smith. I feel like Felicia Spencer would probably beat Ashley Evans-Smith pretty easily. Dumont did get KO'd in the first round by Megan Anderson, but looked really good prior to that. She hasn't fought anyone that great. You know, she fought Mirage, who just got waxed by Kayla Harrison in PFL, but, you know, what can you say? It's Kayla Harrison. Evans-Smith, I don't really think she's that good. And, you know, Megan Anderson beat her, and she got waxed by Felicia Spencer. But I feel like Dumont looked really good in that Anderson fight. She's taken this one short notice against Spencer. She's been up and down between bantamweight and featherweight. Her stand-up is good. I feel like if this fight were to stay standing for 3 rounds, she definitely could beat Spencer there. And she is pretty strong in the clinch. You know, I'll give her credit there, but I just think that Spencer's a better fighter. I think that she's going to want to initiate grappling sequences as soon as she can, because Dumont is a solid striker, as I've said. And I think that Dumont is going to provide an opening for the takedown, you know, with maybe some wild swings, and I think that Spencer will take that to the bank. So, yeah, give me Felicia Spencer in this one, but I do think Dumont is alive. So, Justin Tafa versus Jared Bandera at heavyweight. Justin Tafa, 6 pro fights, is 4-2. Hasn't really fought anyone that great. I guess, like, Jorgen De Castro and Carlos Felipe are pretty good. Both of those were his 2 losses, though. He's 1-2 in the UFC. The Felipe fight, I feel like you could have made an argument for him, for Tafa to win that. De Castro, he ended up just getting caught. I feel like he looked better early. You know, he tagged him really early and looked good until he didn't. And I think that if they fought again, I would probably pick Tafa to beat him. So, you know, Tafa is a good striker. He throws good volume. He's going to be the smaller man here by a decent amount. And looking at Jared Bandera, 11-5, more experience at the pro level, but, you know, lower level for the most part. Not that Tafa has fought, you know, best of the best or anything, but Bandera's going to be 4 inches taller and 6 inches longer. He carries that KO power, as pretty much all heavyweights do. He got dominated by Spivak. I feel like Tafa would have gotten dominated by him too. But I just don't love Bandera's striking defense. I don't love Tafa's striking defense either, but I like Bandera's less, so we'll say that. Excuse me. And I feel like Bandera's chin is okay. I mean, everyone is chinnable at heavyweight though, and I'm definitely not betting on this one, guys. This is like a mega pass for me. I think that I'll go with Tafa. I think that Tafa will be able to close the distance and find some nice right hands on Bandera's chin. I could also see Bandera using, his big size advantage to get a win, but I think that Tafa's the better technical striker, so I'll go with him in this one. But, not really confident. This is one that I'm just going to sit back, relax, and enjoy. So moving on to Shaan and Juan coming up against Carla Esparza at strawweight. So for Juan, she is 13-1. She hasn't lost in over 10 years. She's 6-0 in the UFC, including a nice win over Angela Hill. Most recently, she just had a nice win over Claudia Gadelha. She's going to be the better striker in this fight. She throws a ton of volume, which is really hard to deal with. And she does have pretty solid takedown defense, which, she's going to have to use it on Saturday night, no doubt about it. Esparza is going to want to do that. And Carla Esparza is 17-6. She's a veteran. She's on a 4-fight win streak with wins over Alexa Grasso, Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Watterson, and Virna Jandiroba. And all 4 of those wins have aged really well. She was able to beat Rose Namajunas on The Ultimate Fighter way back in the day. And those are really nice wins. Esparza has really nice wins. She's really strong. She has good grappling. She has good wrestling. But she does not want to stand with Juan here. And I feel like the takedowns won't be as easy to come by as they were against someone, a striker like Marina Rodriguez. And even with 5 takedowns, that fight was really close, and Rodriguez was able to outstrike her, right? So, she, when she does get those takedowns, she just doesn't do enough on the ground for me, a lot of times. And I see a lot of people on Carla here. I was very, very strongly considering it, but I just don't know if she can get it done against Shaan and Juan. Juan is a very good striker, and she just doesn't give you a chance to breathe, and I think that she's able to do enough against Carla here. 100% I think Carla's live as an underdog. If you bet Carla, best of luck. I do think she's definitely live, but, if I'm just giving a pick here, I'm going to be going with Juan in this one. So, yeah, I'll go with Shaan and Juan to get it done. So, now moving on to the main event. This should be a sweet fight. We got Cody Garbrandt, former champ, taking on Rob Font. So, nice bantamweight matchup here. Rob Font, 18-4. He's going to have a pretty healthy reach advantage here. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He was the CES champion back in the day. He's 8-3 in the UFC. Looked good against Marlon Moraes. Nice knockout. He did get controlled on the ground for a decent amount of time in that fight, but he looked really good on the feet. And a win over Ricky Simone, that's not an easy task. He's good at staying calm on the ground, and then when he does get back to the feet and gets to show what he's all about, he takes advantage, right? So, that win over Ricky Simone, that's a nice win. Sergio Pettis, that's a nice win. He just beat Juan Archuleta for the bantamweight belt in Bellator. He had a loss to Rafael Assunção, who Cody just beat. But we're not going to play MMA math. Rob Font hits really hard. He throws more volume than Garbrandt, most of the time. He's really strong. I think he's a better grappler, but I think this probably stays up. And, Cody does have good takedown defense anyway. So Rob Font snaps that jab out there really well. He's got nice combos. I like that he's willing to do some work to the body too, not just head hunting the whole fight. And he just doesn't give you much to work with on the feet. He doesn't offer you a whole lot of opportunities to catch him. And Cody Garbrandt, 12-3, was able to bounce back after a 3-fight losing streak with a win over Rafael Assunção with a sweet knockout right at the buzzer. And, he's a former champ, and kind of the story with a lot of Cody fights is he starts out really strong, calm, technical, looks like $1 million, but he can kind of get into brawls sometimes. Cody does have extremely high level striking. Skill for skill, he's one of the best in the division. I don't think we really need to debate that too much. He's got some nice low leg kicks. He's extremely fast. I think that's probably his most valuable attribute. His boxing skills, we don't need to discuss that. We know they're top tier. He's a great boxer. The only problem is, what I was mentioning earlier about how sometimes he gets into brawls and he can be reckless, and you just don't want to be reckless with Rob Font because he hits too hard. And conversely, Rob Font doesn't want to be reckless with Cody because Cody will sleep you too, right? So I guess if I have to pick a winner here, I'll go with Rob Font, just because I trust his game plan a little bit more. I trust him not to get emotional and get into a brawl. And, you know, he's bigger, he throws more volume, and I think that should he need the grappling, he has that in his back pocket too. But I feel like the best play on this fight is fight does not go the distance. I think that someone is getting knocked unconscious in this one, man. So I'm super excited for this fight. Should be a sweet fight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate you all, and have a great day. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.